started the filtration for the 2,000 gallon plywood. Originally I was going to use that stainless gondola as part of it, but it just didn't fit into this Rubbermaid tub real well. So I've got this big stainless sheet. It's a little bit too big, so I'm going to cut it around the corner so it sets down in there. And this is actually going to be about the perfect height as it sits. I might take, well, I probably will take these off so it sits on there a little bit flush, but that thing's more than stout enough to hold this up. So I've got a bunch of 7-inch filter socks. So we're going to cut holes. We're going to run 8 filter socks in here, which will be more than enough flow. I've got 4 bulkheads that are going to come out of the 2,000 gallon. So we're going to double those up, so we just have a little bit of flow coming out of each one and into this, so it doesn't overflow. But if it does, we're going to be about 8 to 10 inches down into this. So that'll be the primary filtration, will just be those filter socks. And then I'm going to fill this with biomedia. This whole system is going to come out of this spout here. If it's not big enough, we'll put a bigger bulkhead in. And it's just going to be basically supplemental into my main sump. So everything's going to run off of one pump. So this I'm just kind of freehanding, and I'm gonna just kind of chip away at it until it fits perfect in there. So we'll take these corners. What we're going to do is we're going to roll them back around and TIG weld them back into place so we can maintain the structural integrity of this. I think it will be strong enough because these filter socks, the bottom, are going to be resting on the biomedia. So this as a whole isn't going to take a huge amount of water load. So anyways, you can see how it's just going to curve in there, and we'll TIG it back up and seal it back up. You gotta use your gloves until they're wore out. You can see this ridge right in here, and this is what it's gonna sit on. And if I need to put some L brackets or something else in there too, I will. Let's see how we did our first shot. Not quite. Looks like we need to take a little bit out of this corner.
that work?
Almost. I think we got it in one more cut. There she is, like a glove. So I may even put a bulkhead in here with a drain in the event that something happens and it overflows. We can tie that into my drain for my drip system that goes outside. So you can never have too many backup plans when it comes to thousands of gallons of freaking water. Gives you an idea what it's going to look like. 200 micron filter socks pumping down through there into the bio, and a lot of people just seem like they overcomplicate their filtration. It's just clean the friggin' water and get it through some bio and you're good to go, especially when you got a drip system going. I was doing over 1,000 gallons of water with basically an 18 by 24 wall of filter floss, and the rest is bio, and my water has always been crystal clear. See a lot of people dumping a lot of money into filtration, and it's not that complicated, especially if you have a drip system. So I can't stress it enough. You spend all the money you want, but you can get the same result with a bunch of good freebies. So I got all the holes cut for the filter sock tray. As you can tell, I freehanded all of them with the Plaz, and looks like I did it with a butter knife, but it's a filter, not a Swiss watch. I deburred it all. I'm going to bring it home and we're going to throw some filters in there and see how it all looks. So here is the filter with the filter socks in. Everything fit really nice. I'm going to clean everything up, obviously, before we go live with this. Clean those welds up a little bit. I had my buddy that was the shop do the first part of them, and I hadn't TIG welded in like 20 years, so as good as I could do without any practice. This filter is going to sit over here when these two tanks come out. It's going to run laterally this way. It's going to feed down and into my sump here. This is the sump that feeds this 500 gallon and the two 8-foot tanks here. They're a 240 and a 300. But it's basically going to tie into here, and I don't know if I'm going to pass it over those and straight into the bio since it'll be clean, or if I'm going to go in right here where the 300 and the 240 are at the moment. I'll kind of figure that out as I get along. I guess see how much water it's going to flow. This tank is going to take the place of these two tanks here. If you kind of look at the tiles, you can kind of figure out the length yourself. It's going to be about 13 by 5. So it's going to come out to about right where I'm standing. So it'll be a little tight through here, but it won't be bad. It'll be up against the wall over here. So for those of you that haven't seen this, it's kind of a mess in here right now. In the 300 here, I have an ornate biture. He's right at the 20-inch mark. I've had this Oscar for about 4 years. I've got a Vampire Tetra here and a Marble Goby over there. Vampire Tetra is probably around 18 inches now. There's only one fish in this tank right now. It's a baby Boo Puffer. It's going to move down into this one. I've got a little pass-through for when these tanks go out. This is the 500 gallon. I've got an albino sterling sturgeon, draft cat, got a stingray back there, silver arowana, red-tailed giant gourami, and a flagtail. And there is, you probably won't see it, but there's a jelly cat hiding in the corner there. And then the 900 gallon Boswell. There's a tiger shovel-nosed red-tailed cat hybrid, regular red-tailed cat, regular giant gourami, an iridescent shark, and a Jardini. And back corner there, you probably can't see it, there's a big jaguar cichlid. Everybody from this one is going to move into the 2,000 gallon once it's built and put together, and then I'll probably be on the search for a couple more big fish. This has got a drip system as well that comes in through a piece of aquarium tube over here. And then it empties through my biomedia up here. So I've got valves on both of these. I just kind of try to time them together. Sometimes they'll go for a couple weeks without adjusting it. Sometimes I gotta adjust it again, but it seems to do the job just fine. I am gonna improve it at some point. Everything in here holds at 15 to 20 parts per million on my nitrates, and that's pretty good by my standards. I'm going to be adding, another 1,500 gallons to this whole system. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit of tweaking with the drip system to keep everything consistent. I'm probably going to shut it off after the initial fill because it's going to be like doing a gigantic water change, and then I'll adjust as I go. But it should all work out really well. I'm pretty excited to get all this going.
My favorite one's the N64.
Yeah. Can't forget the Nintendo. So here's the main filtration for this 900 gallon Boswell. 2 FX6s and then these 2 Cascades. These are mostly just so I have a couple seated canisters so I can help people cycle tanks and stuff like that. Feeds onto this manifold. The bracket fell off on this one, but the in and the out. And then I've got 2 outs here. And then the intake runs across there. And that's where the bio drips back in. It seems to work really well. I do occasionally have issues with snails plugging stuff up. Once you get one snail, you've got a million snails. And then this is the bio, and it's just got a sprinkler in it there. It seems to kind of plug up every once in a while. That's why it's sitting at an angle. It's only really feeding about half of the bio. That's something I need to improve as well. It just kind of seems like it gunks up, even though it's getting filtered before it goes through there. But just constant little improvements to make the whole system perfect. All right, so we're getting started here. We're going to go through our 2x4s. They're all going to be 49 inches. The exterior of the tank is going to be right at 5 feet. So we're going to pick through so we're not putting screws into a bunch of knots and shit. We got one side of the bottom dry fit together. We're going to start screwing it together. Because this has to go into the room in 2 pieces, we're making everything basically in half. Everything will come together in the room. We're marking out our studs right now. Everything's on a 10-inch center. So the floor is together. You can see the splice in the middle where it will come together because it has to go in 2 pieces, and then there'll be a piece of plywood that goes in there to fill that gap, and then it'll get screwed together. Putting in all these boards for the seam of the plywood where it meets so we can get it nice and flush. We'll do the same thing on this one since we have to run a big seam. Platform all done, and here comes the most crucial decision in the entire build. Are we going to make it into a fish tank, or are we going to square dance and bang our cousins? What do you think, Dad?
Well, you can bang your cousins. I'm going to square dance.
Front wall for the glass is going into place. There's going to be studs down in there and all the way across to fit the windows. The windows are 2 different sizes, so there's going to be a little bit of overlay on one versus the other, so they look like they're the same height, but they will be a little bit different in length, but who gives a shit. So we got the base done. Our seal boards are sitting there. Front for the glass is essentially done, just a little bit left to do there. It all detaches in the center, so we can slide it all together. So the basic construction of this is all done. We came down to the last board, which we fucked up. And then we thought we were unfucking it up, and we fucked it up with 4 more boards. Come to find out everything was 1 inch long, so we unfucked it 1 more time. So this end wall got built 3 times, and it's still the shittiest one. But everything's together. The only thing we're dealing with right now is a little bit of a hump in the middle. So we're going to see if we can get that out. It's just a little bit where they meet down the center. So it could just be that. But what you're looking at is part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This will all come back apart and to get it into my fish room, because there's not a lot of room to deal with there. But she's coming along. It's time to start sheeting it.